Libya, an Islamic socialist state. Its leader, President Gaddafi, known in the West as a brutal dictator, has reigned supreme in Libya for 42 years. What began as a protest has become a fight for the future. Libyan's propaganda has fueled over the years, but after month-long tensions, Western countries have started to get involved, sending their military forces into Libya trying to get rid of Gaddafi by launching attacks. Many students may not know what's taking place in Libya, but this video might give you an insight on what is going on and how other countries are getting involved.
Okay, hi, I'm Therese Hammond, and I teach political science at Penn State University here in the Lehigh Valley. Jane Chigwere has asked me to talk about Libya, where I lived for 6 years in the 60s. When I lived there, I encountered a great deal of anti-Americanism among the Libyans. And then the summer we left is when Gaddafi took over. So the person who was in power when we were there was King Idris. With regard to the current situation, I would like to say that I don't think that we should have gotten involved, and that Gaddafi is going to be very difficult to dislodge. I think there is a civil war in the country, and if we want to dislodge Gaddafi, the U.S. will have to put ground troops into Libya. And in addition to the cost, I don't think that the American people would approve of that at all.
The involvement in Libya proper?
Yeah, do you think that's proper?
I don't think it's correct that the U.S. is involved in Libya. I think it's a form of nation building, and I think it's done to increase the tension in the Middle East and in the Arab community. And I think eventually it'll lead to a domino effect with more Middle Eastern states collapsing. And I think you're going to have organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood filling the vacuum until you get to either the Suez Canal or Saudi Arabia being controlled by them, at which point we're going to have a real problem with the price of gas over here. It'll probably be somewhere north of between $150 and $225 a barrel, and per gallon gas we will have easily $8 to $12 a gallon, which will probably have $5 a gallon this summer because of this.
How about the United Nations with their involvement?
Well, supposedly they're the ones who are taking over the conflict. But I think we're doing it with, while we're flying their flag. It's still us. I don't see what our president or our country has to do with what's happening in Libya. For example, you had a group of armed people storm a military base over there and they were shot at, that's the exact same protocol written and documented that would happen over here if we would storm the gate of a military base. Their orders would be to shoot us, and there's everywhere in the world that's what would happen. So what you see in the newspaper, he's killing his people, I think it's taken out of context.
Right.
So if you do that over here, believe me, you're going to get shot at and killed also. It's the same difference. There's nothing that there's nothing that's different that would happen over here that isn't happening over there.
Okay. Now you mentioned the Muslim Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what that is?
It's a faction of people that are interested in furthering Sharia law or theocracy in whatever, or Islam in whatever country they could get into. Many organizations in the United States also have ties to them, so it's prevalent. And the difference between, I guess, how they fight a war or their battle for Sharia and how we fight our battles is we divide things up. Okay, left, right, we're fighting over a bill, we're fighting over a specific issue, where it's for them, it's all one issue. It's win-win-win, and it's all done for one cause.
Right.
So it's...
Okay, and last but not least, do you think the effect on Egypt, what happened in Egypt affected Libya, and do you think what's happening in Libya right now will affect other African unions?
That's the plan, in my opinion, is to create a domino theory of countries that are going to be reorganized, whether it's for, it's all for one purpose. It's to make money and create chaos. Egypt, for example, they got rid of Mubarak, which he was our ally for a long time, and for some reason you had protesters in Egypt with signs in large blocked English letters. So I don't know if we would start a protest in Guatemala, would we protest in English or in Spanish? It doesn't make sense to me. It just seems like it's all done on by design for the most part. That's why I think Libya is in hot water the way it is, and it's going to. This is the first act of a very long play that you'll see a reorganization of the Middle East.
Like previous wars since '91, the United Nations humanitarian efforts in the country have been centered to make available the tools for reconciliation and rehabilitation. The war in Libya began with a public buildup in which the Western nations negotiated basic frameworks such as international support and authorization from multinational organizations, and mobilized forces for the civilians of Libya.